Hey, friends. So, I woke up this morning, did my morning routine, and as I was sitting in meditation, I had a really interesting, is that the word? Feeling? Because I had a moment where I watched my mind try to create problems. It's like the various elements in my life, the various kind of areas of work, areas of challenge, um, things I'm pursuing, areas of pursuit. I watched my mind literally take them and like frame them and be like, here's why this is bad. Here's why this is bad. And it was like, whoa, what? Whoa, mind. What are you doing here? What are you doing in my life? Chill out. And if you saw my post yesterday, I literally got done saying, don't turn your life into a consolation prize, was kind of the message that came through to me about remaining really present in our perspective upon what our life is offering us, rather than living in some kind of projected fantasy of like, and of course the fantasy is always just about to happen, or it's within reach enough that we think we're going to somehow get there, and it's going to replace everything that's wrong now, and then our life, which ends up being we can do this for an entire lifetime. We can live just one step ahead of where we are now, but if for our entire lifetime we live just one step ahead of where we are now in a fantasy that's right over here, we're never actually in our life, and our feeling about what's currently happening it's somehow a consolation prize. It's somehow a second-rate, not quite fully baked version of the life we ought to be living. So that's what I got done saying yesterday, and then this morning I watched my mind do it. I watched it go and like create problems out of essentially just circumstances in my life, my situation, things I got to deal with, wrestle with, work with. But from the point of view of my deeper kind of like more grounded in presence self, those things are a playground. They're a giant bag of toys. They're a mountain of opportunity. And I don't know that I have really delineated where that came from, like what that feeling was about. And I may not figure that out. I may not know where that comes from. I think sometimes I sense, not to go too woo-woo on you all, but I just sense energetic currents. It's like I feel energy currents coming through, and my psychology shifts around them. And to someone, to someone like a Sadhguru, I'm sure he might actually have, I don't know, some kind of astronomical explanation for that. But all I know is I am in response to those energies. those energies are actually, I don't think that it's just brain chemicals. I think there's something else. But I can't fully explain them. I can't really say, oh, there's no psychologically identifiable reason why that corner might have gotten turned, and all of a sudden my mind is like, well, why? This is why everything sucks. I don't know why I would start doing it. But what I do know, and I come back to this frequently, what I do know is James Clear wrote a book. It's called Atomic Habits, and he talks about little micro habits and making little micro changes in behavior that over time compound into massive changes in your life. And one of the key lessons that he articulates is don't dwell on failures. When something goes wrong, or when our perspective slips, just notice it and get right back to where you want to be. And that's a particularly important principle, because on the one hand, there's a principle in habit formation or in any kind of growth that it's far easier to maintain momentum than it is to create momentum. So if we get going in a string of good habits or a string of practice, I notice this on piano, if I get going in a rhythm of practice, growth becomes easier because it's being propelled by momentum. It's like there's movement happening that I am riding. And so that principle of staying in momentum, remaining in momentum is easier than creating momentum. When we fall off and we make a mistake, or we drop we let a bad habit creep in, or we don't maintain a good habit, or we don't maintain the kind of momentum we want to maintain, there's a tendency to then say, oh, shit, I violated that principle. Now I have to go back and create momentum. I had a little of this with piano a couple weeks ago. And even recently, you let a day go by without playing piano, and it's like, man. And there's a deflating there's a moment of like a drop. But really, it's just a matter of an instant to take that drop and go, boing, okay, I'm back, and get right back into momentum. And it's so important to recognize that what we do when we fall out of our habit, when we fall out of momentum, is just as important as maintaining that momentum. It's equally important, and in some ways you might even argue it's more important, because that response time can be the difference between, months, sometimes a dark turn. I've had phases in my life where a simple dark turn like that, a single energetic faltering, could cause months of disappointment and frustration and a sense of, oh no. And then the creating momentum looks like this mountain. It's a mountain to climb. Oh, wow, what a big mountain. But so that willingness to dwell in failure is deadly. It's deadly. Shut it down. Don't do it. Dwelling in failure it's like anti-life. It's like drinking anti-life juice. These images just come to me. I can't help it. I just say them. But I think you get the point. When we dwell, if we let those energetic dark turns throw us, it's literally just a matter of time before we just get back on the horse, before we get rolling again. And this morning in meditation, I did sort of like feel myself. I felt the problem, everything sucks. And then I was like, but hold on. Whoa. What if this is just an energetic current? What if this is something that I actually can either put my focus on, or I can put my focus over here, and so very quickly I just made the shift. I just went, whoop, okay. And it's like sometimes even just the recognition of how I see it from an authentic place is enough to bring me back to an authentic place. Because it's like, wait a minute, this is an area of my life that doesn't usually look like this. It usually looks like this. Oh, right. That's because I live here and not here. There's an ability to like Pavlovian response ourselves back to more authenticity if we can really kind of take seriously that moment of, if we can know what a big deal it is, if we can know how important it is to stay in that place of authenticity, and if we can just remember in those tough moments that's all it is. That's all it takes. It's that perspectival shift is like hopping back on a moving train. All of a sudden, we're cruising back in the direction we want to go. So, again, this is sort of like my post-mortem on that brief exchange that happened this morning in my mind, but it was really significant. It was the kind of thing where I was able to identify how much time I could save and how much just time I could therefore not waste letting something throw me that is really just a current, a current to be, it's a wave to be ridden, but it's not even a real thing. Certainly nothing to dwell on. Don't build a house on this wave. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.